I'm not really known for my compassion. Dianne Feinstein, I guess everybody knows that news by now. She died last night or something. Everybody wants to do the whole thing where, oh, we can't speak ill of the dead, or, we're sorry for... I'm just not. She is a scumbag criminal. She is part of the reason why the country is like it is today. She has been responsible for so many bad decisions and taking so many of our freedoms and liberties and helping to build not only the massive bureaucratic behemoth that we have in Washington, D.C. right now, but also building the Uniparty. She's been in Congress, I don't even know how long. I don't know, and I didn't care enough to look it up ever since I can remember. I mean, she literally loved power, the influence, the power, and the money so much that she couldn't let it go. Like, she had nothing else, nowhere else she would rather be than in the halls of power right up until her death. And how many of those in Washington, D.C. are just like that? There's a lot in Congress that are actually over 80 right now. I think it's actually double digits. I think Nancy Pelosi, what is she seeking? Re-election? She's either on her 20th term right now, or this next one will be her 20th. I can't remember which it is. But either way, it's either 19 or 20 terms. That's messed up. So let's look at her legacy. We want to honor her or whatever. What honor is there? What will the history books say about her? The real history books, not the propaganda ones. Well, in 2004, she called for the death penalty in the case of a San Francisco, cop killer. And then 2018, she opposed capital punishment, apparently. So I don't know how you go from 2004 to 14 years later having your entire belief system change. I don't know how that happens, especially at her age, because she wasn't young in 2004, and she definitely wasn't young in 2018. So what core principles changed between 2004 and 2018 where she would totally reverse herself on something as important as that, by the way? Because let's say for some strange reason, let's just say in 2004, she was the sole person. Okay, we know it doesn't work like this, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, in 2004, she was the sole person that decided whether or not Officer Espinosa's killer got the death penalty or not. Okay, so in 2004, the cop killer is dead. In 2018, if she's the sole decider, the cop killer's not dead. So there's a big difference between dead and not dead. So what happened between 2004 and 2018? And keep in mind, she's been an adult for a very long time in 2004. So what happened between 2004 and 2018 that would make her reverse her position so much that it would literally mean life or death for someone? Moving on. When asked about her relationship with Beijing, she said, "I sometimes say that in my last life, maybe I was Chinese." Well, isn't that interesting? Because moving right along to 27 July 2018, a report surfaced that a Chinese staff member who worked for 20 years as her personal driver, gopher liaison to the Asian American community, whatever the crap that is. I don't know what an Asian American community is. You're not Asian American, you're American. You're not African American, you're American. You're American. That's it. That's all there is. There is no Asian American community. There is no LGBTQ plus 2, whatever the freak community. There are no community. The only community is the nation. I digress. Moving on. So her gopher liaison, whatever, was caught reporting to China's Ministry of State Security, basically the KGB, a spy. For 20 years, her personal driver was a spy for China. No wonder she sometimes feels Chinese. Keep in mind, the FBI had contacted Feinstein 5 years earlier, warning her about this employee. So 20 subtract 5, That's a 5-year, 15-year loss, 5-year head start on a Chinese spy in your inner circle, your personal driver. The employee was later interviewed by authorities and then forced to retire by Feinstein, whatever. No criminal charges were filed against him. Why the freak not? Why was he fired? Why'd the FBI tell her about him? What kind of evidence did they have on him? It sounds to me like this person is committing espionage. Government official, Feinstein, right? Not even a few feet away from her. Chinese spy. No, that's cool though. No, that's cool. You know, espionage is punishable by the death penalty, but since this is 2018, she doesn't believe in the death penalty. Apparently, she believes in no responsibility at all, because this person got to walk, probably got to go back to China and get promoted for their 20 years of service, spying on the American government. Moving right along. Feinstein introduced the federal assault weapons ban. It became law in 1994 and expired in 2004. Now, I remember this. Okay, I do. It was bad. It was real bad. The common thread in each of these shootings is the gunman used semi-automatic military assault weapons. Oh, here we go with this. Military assault weapons only have one purpose, and in my opinion, it's for the military. Quote, you're wrong. Are you seeing a trend here? She's wrong about everything. That's her legacy. She supported the Affordable Care Act, repeatedly voting to defeat initiatives aimed against it. She voted to regulate tobacco as a drug, voted for the extension of the Patriot Act and the FISA provisions in 2012. Following that, she voted to extend the Patriot Act and the FISA provisions. Feinstein promoted and supported measures to continue the information collection programs. Keep this in mind, it becomes important in the next one. Also in 2013, Feinstein criticized the NSA for monitoring telephone calls of foreign leaders friendly to the U.S. So she supported the monitoring of American citizens by the NSA and then criticized that same agency for monitoring telephone calls of foreign leaders friendly to the U.S. So she trusted foreign leaders friendly to the U.S. more than her own citizens. She supported the illegal information gathering of her own citizens and then criticized the NSA for monitoring foreign leaders. That's backwards. One might also call that wrong. She accused the CIA of snooping and removing files from Congress members' computers, saying the CIA did not ask the committee or its staff if they had access to internal review or how we obtained it. Instead, the CIA just went and searched the committee's computer, kind of like what the NSA was doing to her citizens. You know, the citizens of the country for which she's working in and living in, the one governed by the Constitution that she took an oath to uphold. But she gets upset when the CIA starts rifling through Congress members' files. The search may well have violated the separation of powers principles embodied in the United States Constitution. Oh, so when the CIA looks through Congress members' stuff, that violates the Constitution. But when the NSA monitors private citizens in the United States and their private messages, that doesn't have anything to do with the Constitution, right? After the 2016 FBI Apple encryption dispute, Feinstein sponsored a bill that would likely have criminalized all forms of strong encryption in electronic communication between citizens. She wouldn't speak out against that kind of encryption being used by Congress members, would she? I wonder. She's a giant shining beacon for freedom and liberty. No, she's not. And just because she's dead, I'm not going to pretend or even have sympathy for her. And I'm not going to have sympathy for her family either, because her family benefited from her crimes against the Constitution and the oath that she took. I'm not just hating on Feinstein. If McConnell tomorrow keels over, I'd say the same thing about him, because they're the same thing. It's the uniparty, and I'm not going to shed any tears for the loss of these scumbags. In fact, I'm pretty happy she's gone, and I think the world is slightly better without that scumbag. Just how it goes, man. We say that, oh, they do these terrible things to us, you know. With one hand, we'll say that. We'll say, oh, it's so unjust. Oh, it's so bad that, you know, Washington does this to us. And then turn around the next day and say, oh, we have compassion and sympathy. You better pick one. If you know who your enemy is and why they are your enemy, then you're in a much better position to fight. Otherwise, I would challenge if you even have the willpower to do so. If you're over here grieving for the loss of this piece of garbage, I don't know what to tell you. If you're gonna win, and especially if it gets as bad as I think it's gonna get, then you're just gonna be really sad, I guess. I don't know. But hey, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a terrible, mean person, but when someone is my enemy and they have done everything they can to take away not just my freedoms, but my fellow Americans' freedoms, and done everything they can to ruin the Constitution of one of the greatest countries that has ever existed on the face of this earth, directly against the oath they took to preserve the very same thing that they are ruining, I don't get weepy when they die. -1. At least there's that. We could do with a lot fewer of those on the face of this planet. Whatever you want to do, man. I ain't having no part of it. The only thing I got to say to her is, bye.